Everyone. We backed up on time today in terms of getting the slides ready and so on. So we had to go live here, which we haven't done in a while. So if I speak a little more slowly, it's because I have a cold and a flu that's been whipping around the office, but also just want to make sure to get this right, given that we're doing it in a live environment. Please take a minute to see the safe harbor statement. We're HUMBL. I'm the CEO, Brian Foote. We're located here in Southern California, although we're virtual and have people located across the world and certainly across the United States. We are a Web3 commerce company. So it's nice to be with you all on any given day. We have over 140,000 HUMBL shareholders. So I think one of the reasons that I relate to athletes when we meet with them is you take the largest stadium in North America and you fill it to overflow capacity and walk out into the middle of the field and tell people what you're working on. And that's our day at HUMBL in terms of the scale. So we are deeply appreciative to represent you all. It's a great honor, and certainly we love what we're doing here at the company. It's what gets us up every morning to get in the gym and get HUMBL built out to the scale that we believe it can achieve within our thesis. Here at HUMBL, we're building products that make Web3 easier to find and use. So when I first tweeted a year and a half ago or so that we were going to be building Web3, that was my first tweet is, hey, we're setting up Web3. It's really fun just as a level set when you come in to do these calls to see brands that you're getting off the phone with this week with Franklin or Wilson or New Balance or Old Hickory that you're going to be stepping into the Web3 metaverse with in these stores. And you kind of pinch yourself that you're getting to do that with the sporting goods brands that you grew up with and so on. And so that's pretty neat. So we're tracking on our goal of creating a digital environment that deepens the connections beyond email, sign-in, receipt printers, and so on here at HUMBL, and excited to share with you some of the ways we're doing that in real time and as a leader in this innovative category. So the state that we find ourselves in, and I think HUMBL is a good testament to this in terms of this sort of gnashing state between Web 2 and Web 3. And certainly some of that got accelerated by COVID quite a bit during this grand reset that we had basically during COVID, where stuff moved really rapidly online. We were setting COVID records December 21, January 22, all over again. So you had a pandemic that lasted, I think, a lot longer, unfortunately, than a lot of us thought it would. And it drove a lot of customers to start to contemplate digital technologies, start to use more digital technologies, and start to think about how customers in the future will engage with each other, both in person, but then in this new economy that will be built out called the Metaverse. So that's something that we are working on here at HUMBL. And so sometimes you hear us talk about Web 2.5 technologies. For example, our HUMBL Pay app can accommodate things like credit card purchases, but then it also has digital assets or the ability to send USDC stablecoin from peer to peer. So sometimes at HUMBL, you see sort of this gnashing microcosm of the state that we are in the market, which is you have folks that are in hardcore crypto and blockchain, very blue ocean Web3 stuff. But then you have sort of where's the market today, which we believe is in Web 2.5, where people are still using credit cards, they're still using checkbooks, they're still using receipt printers. So what we are trying to do at HUMBL is create products that can drive revenue right now and work in the market right now as we move customers north into Web3. So I'm definitely excited to focus on the Web3 components of our work today. We're going to give you some more of the Web 2 and Web 2.5 updates tomorrow that have some things to do with merchant and pay and all of that. We just wanted to make sure all of our ducks in a row in those categories before we give you more updates tomorrow. As many of you know, we were in the middle of a transaction over the last month or so that has now been terminated with Agora. So we will be communicating with you again more frequently. Just when you're in the middle of one of those transactions, you just can't say much. So thank you for bearing with us while we teased out the conclusions of that agreement. It did not move forward. We've terminated it and moved on. So we will begin communicating with you more often. Today, I'm really going to be focusing on the Web3 stuff that we're doing. I'd like to think it's some of the first things in the world that are being done in this regard with the brand Metaverse Stores and some of the Web3 commerce integrations. Certainly, there's been plenty of pop-up stuff on existing metaverses where you have environments that get built on, Decentraland or things like that. But what we are doing here at HUMBL is starting to build novel environments where we can have a more contained situation for our clients and the brands with whom we're working to help them walk into Web3. There's a pretty interesting time period in the late 90s and the early 2000s where individuals and companies realized they were all going to need a website. And our thesis at our company is that people are starting to realize pretty quickly, especially when it's made easy for them by companies like HUMBL, that they're going to probably need some extension of their physical stores or their e-commerce websites in these Metaverse stores. So we're excited to have built out a stack that I think accommodates that for our clients. And certainly that's the feedback we're getting from some of the top brands in the world, particularly at this confluence of sports, entertainment, and technology that HUMBL sits at. So again, we're HUMBL. We're building Web3 products that make Web3 easier to find and use. The product stack that we have taken to market is the HUMBL Digital Wallet, which is 4.9 stars on the App Store. We have our blockchain-based search engine, meaning it has some features that can help you more quickly find things that are cataloged or tokenized on things like Polygon, Ethereum, blocks. So there will be a time period, I believe, that as more products and services get tokenized and connected to wallets, that search engines will need to be more than just these line lists, yellow page style line lists. We all remember that moment during Web 2 where we looked at a yellow pages and went, that's not super relevant anymore. So I do believe that search engines will need to start to become connected to registries that better catalog products and services that are tokenized on the blockchain. So Search 3 for us is an early example in which we're trying to provide you and get your feedback on beginning to search for tokenized items, including products and services, so that you can better authenticate peer-to-peer trade between yourself or brands as the web becomes more decentralized. We then flow customers down into what we call the HUMBL Marketplace. So I'll give you a schematic of how that works. We do think that customers are going to start to move north from very simple Web 2 e-commerce websites that bred sort of some of the FANG group of stocks and certainly gave them huge moats of those companies when they realized, in the mid 90s, late 90s, hey, folks are going to need to buy stuff online rather than driving for individual items to the shopping mall. So that was a big aha moment for them. And part of the things we're building on our marketplace are more authenticated goods through tokenization, meaning there are issues on larger marketplaces with fake ratings, fake reviews, and fake merchandise. So categorizing and tracking those things on blockchain through a technology called tokenization and registries gives consumers more power, both over peer-to-peer trade between each other of goods, but it also creates more authentic marketplaces where you're not just trading goods that are not authenticated. So I won't name names of existing marketplaces that facilitate either vendor portals or peer-to-peer trade, but we are improving upon those by using this new technology called blockchain tokenization that can better help you trade between people or you and a brand through what we call wallet-to-wallet commerce. So we've got the HUMBL Marketplace rolling out, and then for true Web3 enthusiasts, we're moving them into these interactive 3D shopping experiences called brand Metaverse Stores. We're launching the first one for a Major League Baseball player, Ke'Bryan Hayes, next week, September 29th. So that'll be a lot of fun, and it's been great to learn from and interact with the top brands that he endorses, such as Wilson, Franklin, New Balance, et cetera, as they start to contemplate moving beyond just websites into the metaverse. So that's our stack at HUMBL, and we're calling it a Web3 commerce platform, which is landing quite well in the market with our clients. So if I need to take one slide in to meet with a bank or meet with a client, this is the slide I take in, meaning you kind of have fit your business onto a manageable path when you have your business down on one slide. Please note that we will talk tomorrow a bit more about the HUMBL Pay wallet and how it continues to have some applications down inside the brick and mortar layer, and so on. So that is not the topic of today's talk. I'm focusing more on the Web3 sphere of the business, which is shown more here on my right-hand side of the slide deck, with tokenized landing pages, and then also 3D brand Metaverse stores that we are launching with House of Hayes and the brands that he has endorsements with. So today's focus is really on the right-hand side of this slide deck. We'll cover also a little bit about HUMBL Pro, which is a Web3 CRM dashboard, as well as HUMBL Ad Sales, which has been built out in the background. One of the toughest things that I've discovered about going public at a fairly early stage, very early stage with HUMBL, is that you're very limited on what you can say to the market when you become a public company, which is, it can be very annoying because you have these really cool meetings inside your company where you're meeting with technology or clients and you're building out this suite of stuff that you want to show the market. So I'm excited and have challenged our teams internally to show more of what they're working on in real time. It's okay if it has some warts and we're missing on some things. We will constantly get in the garage and work to improve those things for you and with your feedback. We have the tremendous benefit of having a very engaged base of customers that constantly send us feedback. As I mentioned early in the call, you can only imagine the amount of communication I get, because all 146,000 people have different opinions on what we should have covered, how we should have done it, what vest I should have worn, should I have shaved more, whatever. But the point is that I really am challenging our internal teams to share more with you what they're working on, even if it's in living form, because I think that's very indicative of a company's progress, a company's health, and so on. So I would definitely tell you guys that you'll have more content coming around things like HUMBL Pro and HUMBL Ad Sales, where Alfonso, Gustavo, Nick, Jacob, others are working on that stack. And we will start to show that more for you all, so that you can get the benefit of seeing these things sort of morph over time into hopefully what will become broad scale technology applications for our clients. So we have HUMBL Pro ready in its living form. We have the HUMBL Ad Sales dashboard ready in its living form. Certainly those things will be used to drive revenues for the company. We're extremely focused on using those tools to drive revenues. You have seen in Web 2 that things like ad sales can really help accelerate the revenues of your company. And that, of course, we will always feather in bleeding edge stuff like HUMBL Pro, which contemplates providing one of the first ever Web3 CRMs for folks like a Cabrian and his constituents, New Balance or Wilson or Franklin, where they can now go into the backside of HUMBL and start to really think about, does the sale of this product get accompanied by something more than a receipt? Meaning, is it accompanied by a commemorative NFT, a certificate of authenticity? If someone's spending $300 on a Wilson glove, is the customer not going to expect something like a premium NFT in their wallet and then to be able to slide through to a certificate of authenticity on the Blocks registry inside the HUMBL wallet? So I am, as a founder, so proud that the stack that you are looking at from a Web3 perspective, the HUMBL wallet, 4.9 stars on the App Store, the HUMBL Pro CRM dashboard, HUMBL Ad Sales, a cross-blockchain search engine, tokenized landing pages with clients like a San Diego State or a Cabrian Hayes, Semi Radradra, Leandro Asuna, top athletes in their category. We're starting to roll those out. We'll be rolling out one of the first brand Metaverse stores, certainly the first for a Major League Baseball player across his brands next week. So to see these things, when you say as a founder, hey, we're going to set up Web3 and take a go at helping frame up what this is going to look like over coming decades. It's really neat for me to be working with brands that were formative for me as sporting goods or things like footwear growing up, and all of a sudden you're getting to build out stuff with them that hasn't really been done before in the category. So I really liken it to the late 90s where folks said, okay, guys, we're going to need a website and we're going to need to sell stuff on online marketplaces. I really believe that nearly every personal brand like athletes and every corporate brand like consumer goods manufacturers are really going to need to think hard about building out replications of their flagship stores or replication of their consumer experiences in this found real estate that is the metaverse. And we're excited to have created a holistic platform that can do that end to end for our clients. So we want to land and expand this thing with Cabrian and his brands next week, and then move rapidly to expand to other clients that we can serve, and frankly, some of whom we've been putting off for a little bit because you just want to get the first one right. So that's the stage gate we're in of helping develop Web3 as a commerce platform powered by Humble. So really the migration that we see from Web 2 and Web 2.5 to Web 3 is wallet to wallet commerce. So you hear me saying a lot about wallet to wallet commerce, meaning if you think about Web 2, you sell a good and hand them a physical receipt, or you sell a good online and they get a receipt in their email, and you're back to this morass of sign-ins, email remarketing, social media retargeting, et cetera. So what we are working on with our clients, ranging, like I said, from personal brands in MLB like Cabrian or San Diego State on the university level with their stadium opening, is this wallet to wallet commerce where you're essentially getting a direct connection for a brand or an entity between them and the consumer, or a consumer and a consumer. So wallet to wallet commerce, I think you will really see a lot of the intermediaries stripped away. And again, when you feather in these things like registries, it's really important, because if you truly decentralize the web and people are back to selling each other things on a marketplace, how do I authenticate that that signed football is correct, that ticket I just bought from you is going to work at the door? So decentralized registries that are tamper-proof and use the exciting sort of decentralized ledgers of blockchain, but that can help us create more authenticated commerce of products and services, both between each other or with corporations or government, I think will be really empowering for people if done correctly. So that's what we're building at Humble, is walking into these clients and giving them wallet to wallet commerce. I talked to you guys a few months ago about, hey, get your .eth wallets going. I noticed that's I think the top category now on OpenSea. I've been so buried in our work I haven't checked on it, but that's something that you're going to see, I think, a lot of, is entities, even governments, that are going to have more wallet to wallet commercial transactions that can be better authenticated and create sort of this hot drop environment between people, where if you're San Diego State, you want to get out an NFT of a women's soccer player, a women's volleyball player, a commemorative NFT of your stadium opening here in Southern California, you want to have a wallet to wallet connection with your consumer, so that you can still use all the wonderful things about these email and service providers and social media providers on Web 2, but now you also have a much more direct connection, disintermediated connection between you and the person with whom you're doing business, or your consumer, or your athletes, or your alumni. The list goes on, and your constituents. The list goes on and on. So look for Humble to continue to paddle into position as a leader in wallet to wallet commerce. Please do download and start to use our Humble Wallet app. 4.9 stars on the App Store, but we still want to accumulate as many users as possible. We are going to be continuing adding features. We had a new feature tutorial that was put up yesterday. More coming that Alfonso can give color on the breakout this afternoon with the technical dive. If you guys want to tune in again as he talks through Humble Pro and Humble ad sales, there will no doubt be some touches on new features that will be coming out on the Humble Wallet as well. So we'll constantly be improving on this product line to try to meet or exceed some of the competition that's out there. And again, we take a really confident stance here in the sense that you can also connect other wallets to things like our search engine. We just want to do as much business as possible. So we do create silos at times with the clients for whom we're fulfilling, but even inside Humble products, you can still tether other ones to Humble to make sure that we're integrating as many people as possible and maximizing equity and access to our platform. We have the search engine, continually building out features that you may see or may not see, like Humble Ad Sales and the Humble Pro Client Management Dashboard that will be demoed by Alfonso. So we'll be continually building this out. But again, the thesis here is that, Wave 1 search engines in Web 2 did really well. They built out these sort of categorical links for people to see stuff. They had some rating and review stuff that bubbled up on top of or in concert with that. But really what we think you're going to want to see is these tokenizations and registries that sit underneath this, so you can start to validate your searches, authenticate commerce, trade and track in new ways with products and services. And certainly step into a metaverse tab here over time as well. One of the big hooks to the metaverse is, the big guys are making it very cartoony and, kind of out there. So we really contemplate a metaverse that has highly mixed reality where, hey, let's capture what it is like on this campus. Let's capture what it is like to take a recruiting trip there or to visit the Hall of Champions. But then you open the locker and you step into a metaverse that's a totally found environment for the client as well. So expect, I think, for us to have a strong metaverse tab over time on Search 3 and to give people really, really easy to understand access points to these new environments. It just doesn't make sense right now to get in the car and spend $6 per gallon to go wait in line and miss a day of work. Many people can't miss a day of work. We all can't miss a day of work to stand in a government office and get services or wait in line. So we do believe that governments will also move to these deeper connections, both through wallets or applications, and then also metaverse environments where you can quickly visit an office from the government in multiple languages with a 24/7 staffing that can help you get through what you need to accomplish with government in a way that makes it more accessible to you. So the metaverse provides many opportunities to do that, not just in sort of these cartoonish headset ways, but in ways that will really measurably impact people around the world to make things like government or retail more affordable, more accessible, more immersive, et cetera. And we want to give you a really easy front door to find that and to get in. That's a big impediment in market research with the metaverse, is it's so obtuse that people think you need, these headsets or fancy equipment, or it's only for, 25-year-olds that are next gen consumers. But in reality, I think a big part of HUMBL has always been thinking about where is the actual market, and then where can we take it north once they're in the market with us. So we will be creating metaverse environments that are much more simple for people to understand, and that through things, distributed ledger technologies like blocks, where you verify something on blocks as a product, or you catalog it on a registry as a service for government through something like the blocks registry, you can start to have really accountable forms of commerce in the first world, but then also, down into environments where, land and title and other initiatives that the UN 2030 contemplates as being, a little bit obtuse in certain markets. That's going to be important to put onto land and title and things like that, where there can be disputes or not much more than a verbal cataloging of that over generations. Decentralized registries propose a lot of advancements that are not intrusive on people from a government level, but that allow you to better catalog. Yes, it's okay to invest in my eco resort here because I do own the land and it's cataloged here on this blocks registry. We want you to be able to look that stuff up instead of just sort of getting this yellow pages line list of existing search engines that are not on blockchain. So that's some of what we're working on with the Search 3 product, is a search engine that fits with Web3 and the decentralization that will come with that, and the individual empowerment that can come with that to improve their relationships with each other and with commercial and with government. So here's sort of some of what we're building here. You've got the HUMBL Pro and the HUMBL ad sales dashboard to drive revenue. So you'll start to see some sensible advertisement rolling out on Search 3 now that technology is built out, and thanks to our team for grinding on that. Certainly people will then be able to do landing page environments. So we do really think, again, I keep going back to the sort of late 90s, early 2000s, where it's sort of crazy, I think, to think that, shopping mall brands or, office supply stores would start to have these micro stores on places like Amazon. So, you have these environments where with tokenization, I do think you're going to see, and certainly this is a premium example for us because it's humble.com/. You will see environments where web pages, the consumer starts to expect that web commerce pages will have connected wallet features, commemorative NFTs, hot drops between the brand and the consumer, or just something commemorative that you get in your wallet after you buy an item. I spent $300 on that glove for Christmas. What did I get? I want a commemorative NFT. I want something that's signed by Cabrian. I want a certificate of authenticity that says I own that if I need to sell it on a marketplace, or I want to get it signed and it up levels in value. So really, I think expect to see both at humble.com /, but certainly in other pages around the web, because you can embed our pages on other places, these tokenized environments where you're getting an NFT collection with a purchase, you're getting an airdrop of a free NFT from an athlete that accomplishes something or wants you to introduce you to his or her new product drop. So expect that. And then what's really cool is that once you have people in the wallet and you're expecting a tokenized behavior in the wallet, it's easy to step into the metaverse, because now you have authenticated commerce that can be traded between two people, even if there isn't an arbiter of truth standing behind the desk at some retail store. So that's some of the things we're working on. And again, like these pinch me moments where, this week our teams were on the final calls with Wilson or the team out at Franklin. Just really cool to have said, hey, we're going to be setting up Web3, and then a year and a half later, you're working with some of the top brands in the world to help them step into what we believe will be a very powerful new commercial economy of the metaverse. So here's some of the behaviors that we're building. Again, you can embed these pages, so easy embed where, if you're brand.com and you want to have this on your site, you can go and do the page embed. We can certainly link out to social media for further engagement there. Sorry, I've got a cough and cold going around the office. We will provide an easy gateway entrance to the metaverse, meaning one of the things I said earlier in the call was people are saying, dude, it's so hard to find the metaverse. Like, I don't understand it. It looks like stupid cartoons from Silicon Valley, and I get it. Some of the people that are spending the most to try to build the metaverse are, I think, missing big on how to get from here to there with the consumer. So we will be giving an easy gateway portal to get into the metaverse, start to check it out, do it from, simple devices like a desktop, and certainly, the headset and so on over time. But we really want to try to meet the market in a place where they go, okay, got it. I can comfortably enter the metaverse. That was cool. I get it. I can see how every store would want something in the metaverse, or brands or personal brands will need to expect not just to have a website, but a wallet connected metaverse store. And certainly, I think you will start to see that expectation in the market from brands, and HUMBL is here to serve that. So thank you to those folks that have waited a little bit for us to get to your account. We hope you're still there, but we just really wanted to land and expand, get this first example right for Cabrian, drive some Wilson glove sales, Franklin batting glove sales, drive revenues, get into those affiliate programs, and then expand, of course, into the many other clients we can serve once we scale out these technologies and these programs. Again, as I mentioned, I do really think that folks are going to start to expect something beyond the receipt printer. You spend $300 on a glove at a sporting goods store. Are you not going to want something more than just a receipt where it's handed to you? Did I get, and there's maybe a little tag on the item, or you can, circle, some kind of coupon code on the receipt or something like that. But if you think about transactions as something that's a consummation of an engagement between a consumer and a brand, we really think that younger generations who are cradle to grave digital natives are going to expect to get something more than a printed receipt. So with wallet to wallet commerce, you can do the sale, but then you're getting the customer into a direct connection between you and the brand, whether it's a personal brand with his fans like Cabrian, or whether it's a brand like Wilson or Franklin or New Balance, that we believe will start to want to contemplate commemorating the sale of that with commemorative NFTs, certificates of authenticity, things like that. So those are some of the things that we're out there starting to activate in the market, is these programs where you're starting to think about something that Wave 1 NFTs was sort of, why do people care about these blockchain tokenized versions of, Bored Apes? And I really think that was focusing on the trees through the forest, in the sense that a lot of things can be commemorated as NFTs or certified on registries. So start to look for people to expect, I think, when they purchase a premium physical item, that they are going to want something that accompanies the NFT collection. I bought that watch. Where is it registered? How do I know I own it? What's my certificate of authenticity? How do I resell it on a marketplace? All these things. So working on some really cool solutions there that we're rolling out in the market, and that we welcome your feedback on in this regard. As I mentioned, we have the 3D brand Metaverse store rolling out next week. So kind of neat to see folks like Franklin tweeting about little old Humble out there, that we're walking them into this entirely new dimension that we believe will be a tremendous economy for people over the next decade. So pretty cool stuff that we're doing out there in the market. And of course, we will be working with these brands to drive sales and revenues as the customer interacts with Cabrian, interacts with his endorsement brands, and says, okay, got it. That's a batting glove he wears. That's the Cabrian A2000 Wilson batting glove. Those are his New Balance baseball cleats. So we'll be doing all manner of exciting marketing activities there, ranging from one-of-ones with artwork to accompany them, NFTs. It really is a fertile and blank environment in the metaverse that can be updated in a much more agile way than an end cap at retail. So that's what we're building here at Humble, and that we will be rolling out as soon as next week with Cabrian. I believe on September 29th is the date that we put in the dirt today. So we'll be doing that on September 29th, and can't wait to get your feedback on it. Again, this is really new stuff, right? So we're not just going on top of Decentraland and building sort of a pop-up shop. That's not what we're doing. So please do give us your feedback, but know that we are walking through the brush in the forest, and we're the ones carrying the machete to carve this path. So bear with us when you see little nicks and knacks on stuff. We are not perfect. We're human. Our company is a living organism. We will shoot and miss. We will make mistakes, but we're constantly in the woodshed building this stuff out. So continue to give us your feedback as we forge this new category here in the United States and globally. And again, I give you the view of, hey, customer sees this glove, they like it, maybe they want to, change to a different color, whatever. That's where we help the customer purchase, drive revenues, affiliate sales, and so on, as well as do, product drops. We've even created a theater environment where the athlete or the brand can announce new products, do hot drops, do product testing very rapidly in these stores, rather than having to wait to send it out to retail, change out all the signage at the shopping mall, these kinds of things. So these will be incredibly fertile, transactional and revenue-driven environments versus brick and mortar, and even just sort of non-dynamic Web2 websites that I think are getting a little long in the tooth here after 20 years of a really good run. On the back side of that, we have the Humble ad sales dashboard. So I've asked our technical teams to interact with you guys on giving you a real-time demo of that. We're in a show me mode at Humble, obviously. Like, I think you guys are bought into our thesis that Web3 is going to be a thing, and that we have a really good product stack to help our clients move into powered by Humble environments on Web3 commerce. But I think, you're going to also want to see, I really want to show you guys some of what's under the hood here in the lab, because you're our shareholders. We work for you guys. And I think it's just really neat when you get to have a look in behind that. That's not really common for big tech. And we're still, a very small, founder-driven, warts and all company. So I welcome you guys to dive in on these technical demos and get a view of what is a Web3 CRM? How are you helping clients move into Web3 and manage that as a platform? How are you going to be doing traditional ad sales on sort of this Web 2.5? How will you tether it to a blockchain registry underneath that, or wallet to wallet? So really cool stuff, but it's agile and it's too long to go over on a shareholder call, but it's really neat once you get into it. So our technical teams will do a deep dive with you guys on ad sales, and then the Web3 push to publish CRM dashboard. In terms of company marketing, we don't have the cash loads that these guys up north in Silicon Valley have. We just don't. I know I hear you guys where you're like, why aren't you buying Super Bowl commercials and buying TV billboards? And it's like, dude, because I don't have $5 million in my pocket to buy a Super Bowl ad. So we just don't. I think, in fact, I would ask you guys to see how much we drive on what little budget we do have. We swing way above our pay grade in terms of the athletes we get to work with, the brands we're affiliated with, opening up, our regional stadium here at Snapdragon, launching with Olympic surfers like Leandro Asuna, bringing us gear and tokenizing his NFT collections, gold medal winners like Semi Radradra, in rugby, tier 1A guys like Cabrian, the highest paid Pittsburgh Pirate of all time, Dejane, who joins us from the WNBA finals, Trevor, who scored a great touchdown the other day for the Florida Gators. He was one of the first to ever, I believe the first, to do his NFT his selection of a college as an NFT with us, surrounding the All-American Bowl. So we're doing some really cool first of stuff on NFTs, and the affiliations that we get into these major league teams or these Olympic champion teams are just kind of what we can do with the budget we've got. So I'm constantly thankful that these tier 1A athletes come in, and we're not offering them anywhere close to the money that they get offered from these other guys, but they sign with us because they see that we grind and that we're human and that we want to build this stuff and we want to win. So pretty cool, and very thankful to work with them. And I would challenge you that these names aren't best of breed for their sports when you ask us what we're doing for marketing. Finally, we do have a boutique division called the HUMBL Blockchain Services Division. We work with the U.S. Air Force. That's on a different floor from here in a room that's cordoned off from the main HUMBL office. So we can't give a lot of detail there, but we continue to work with them on that contract. We also have continued to get through the stage gates on this County of Santa Cruz application, mobile app, which is super cool. If we can get this right, we can roll this out to other counties, other cities, in which you can have an improved and more equitable and accessible and efficient relationship with your government. So that's pretty cool too. I'm so thrilled to be working with them. We are appreciative that they have given HUMBL the opportunity to go to work for them. We'll be rolling that in with some of their My Santa Cruz County previous applications and so on, so we can build on that. But you know us, I mean, we shoot for the moon on this stuff in terms of let's try to build the best county app that there is in the world and go apply that in other places on a modular level. So yet again, another thing that we're building out and that we believe will have tremendous applicability to other markets if we can land and expand this one. But these things, guys, all take time. They take capital. They take people. We all do about 10 jobs around here because we're just not as well-heeled or well-capitalized as the big tech guys. So just bear with us. We are doing everything we can to try to take our talents and our efforts and our vision and apply them to the many people that want to work with us. We just have to pick these categories, right? Consumer, sport, and entertainment, defense, county applications. Like each thing that we pick to focus on is because I believe it can be greatly expanded if we build one modular example and get it right. Lastly, since going public, we have acquired 4 companies. I again want to thank the team at BizSecure of Alfonso Sr. and Alfonso Jr. For being exactly who they said they were going to be. Anytime you make a draft pick or you trade for someone to join your team and put on the uniform, you're taking an aggregate risk on who they will be and will they show up and will they put in the hours and will they, grind alongside you to try to win. And so, this acquisition of BizSecure, I've just been able to neighbor so closely with Alfonso Sr. and Alfonso Jr. on the technology side. Certainly, I think, we're very comfortable that, I'm half decent at figuring out what consumer products are going to land in these greenfield spaces and selling them to clients. But if you don't have the technical execution and the technical drive within your team to fulfill those well, both for the consumer marketplace and the clients whom you're serving, then it doesn't matter much. I mean, so I really want to thank those guys. If you talk offline to any of our clients, a San Diego State, a Cabrian, a Frank, like any of these things, they'll go, oh my God, there's 8 people on the call from HUMBL. Yeah, that's because we're trying to overserve the business and get it right. So that being said, I can get 5, 6 people on the side on that from business or creative or whatever. If we're not fulfilling it technologically at a really high standard as well, then there's a gap out. So I do want to thank those guys. Their stock is certainly priced less than where it was when we consummated our agreement with them, and they've continued to grind like it was day one. So I just really want to thank them. I know a lot of our shareholders love those guys as well. And Alfonso will do a breakout with you of HUMBL Pro, HUMBL ad sales. Alfonso Jr. has been amazing on the Metaverse Store stuff, and so on. So thank you to those folks who have come into the building and driven hard to fulfill the technological thesis of the business, such as BizSecure. In terms of like my scorecard as a CEO, just a little bit about me. I went to UCLA undergrad. I played for our #1 ranked UCLA Bruins soccer team, although I was injured and I played very sparingly, mostly just trying to understand why I was out there with guys that were way better than me for a limited period of time. So that was pretty cool. But it was neat to be able to train since I was 5 years old or whatever, to be able to put on the UCLA jersey and get to that goal. So that was my undergrad. I did my blockchain certification at MIT just because I wanted to quickly learn about the space and was very passionate about it, and that was available to me. And I'm in the Yale Global Executive Leadership Program this year. So we're out at Yale for 5 or 6 weeks this year, just expanding my global network and also training to become a better executive on your behalf, a better CEO, and so on. And then I'll get to attend the CEO Summit. And we have a wonderful professor out there, Professor Sonnenfeld, who puts on probably the top CEO Summit in the world out in New York. So I'll be at that as well here in the winter. So I'm very thankful to be a part of that 6th cohort of the Global Leadership Program, and I'm learning a ton. And again, you get this just a little bit of a tickle that you get to go and do these things. So I'm very thankful for that. In terms of representing you guys, I've sold 0 shares. I take a $1 salary. Certainly my family's invested millions of dollars in HUMBL. I've retired the equivalent of over 770 million common shares, donated 100 million blocks to the HUMBL balance sheet. I donated our Bored Ape Blue, who is going to be a tremendous mascot for HUMBL across Web3. And we continue to grow the base. The last Nobo list that we ran was Q2, and we were at about 146,000 HUMBL shareholders. So like I said, it's pretty wild, and we're thankful for the opportunity to represent you guys and work for you. We continue to focus very heavily on driving revenue growth. So we're very focused on driving revenues. From Q1 and Q2 2021 to Q1 and Q2 2022, the company increased its revenues by 714%. From Q2 2021 to Q2 2022, the company increased its revenues by 801%. In terms of gross profitability, we went from Q2 2021 to Q2 2022. The company increased its profits by 632%. And from Q1 and Q2 2021 to Q1 and Q2 2022, the company increased its profits by 830%. So focus on the facts that the company is publishing, not the internet basement trolls. The things that we have to get done now are to raise money, win clients, and drive revenues. It is so cool to be out there with this Web3 commerce platform and having big time clients like a Wilson or a New Balance or a Franklin go, yeah, that's cool, let's move forward. We're doing something right in this regard. In terms of growing the customer base, again, guys, we are constantly trying to get, every network expansion that we can with these clients, right? You work with a university, you're getting into their alumni, their fans at the stadium, their athletes. You work with professional athletes, you're getting into their fan network, all these things. So we're constantly trying to leverage based on the budgets we've got to swing out and up on marketing. So I would encourage you to continue to look at that list of who we're marketing with and know that we are getting the name out there. And certainly your word of mouth about our 4.9 star wallet is valued as well. And then we've got a client fulfillment. We've got to do the client fulfillment. If we don't do really well by our clients and have the bandwidth to do that, then we're not going to be any good. So openly, I will tell you, we've been putting off or turning down clients that I would have dreamed of last year, just because we want to get these powered by HUMBL programs right so that we can land and expand and scale. So I'm looking forward to that, and certainly increased capital gives us the ability to serve more clients. And so I'll be out there just beating the street on raising money again. So we'll go and do that. And then of course we will continually seek M&A opportunities, either that are accretive to the things that we do, or that can give more revenues to the company in a turnkey capacity. So that's what we're working on, guys. Thank you again for the opportunity to represent you. Alfonso will do a breakout of the technical things that we're working on around the search engine and the wallet. And then I'll be back tomorrow, hopefully with a better voice, to talk to you about some of the HUMBL Pay and Web 2 and 2.5 stuff that we want to just really have firmed up tomorrow to talk to you about. So thank you again, and we'll talk to you again soon. Thanks.